If you could see the world through my eyes, vibrant purple sunrise, shards of broken dreams come raining down.
Mark here, Life and Fitness Files. Make sure to like and subscribe to stay up to date with content. Today, we're going to be talking about 5 routines that you need to incorporate into your evening to help ensure that you have the best sleep possible. We all know that sleep is vital to our health and well-being. It's one of the fundamental aspects of our body being able to function. When we sleep, we're able to recover. We're able to rest our brains and do the things that we need to do. When we learn things during the day, that is actually cemented and solidified when we sleep. That's how we learn. So we need to make sure that we are sleeping well, and the things that we do in the evening leading up to sleep are vitally important to make sure that happens. In the evening, tip number 1, make sure that you are dimming the lights. The blue wavelength that we have in lights can disrupt our sleep. It might impact us falling to sleep and impact the structure of our sleep. So we want to make sure that later in the afternoon into the evening, we are dimming lights. A way to work through this is get some red light bulbs, because those eliminate most or all of those blue wavelengths. You're still able to see. It's a little bit different, but your eyes do adjust. If you can use red, orange, even amber lights, that's going to help immensely. You can get reading lights that have that amber color instead of super bright, so you can still do the things that you want to do. Another thing to note is things like candlelight or a firelight. Those do not disrupt our circadian rhythm because of the wavelengths that are coming from that. So you can use candlelights or sit at a campfire or at a fireplace. That's not going to disrupt your sleep. So dimming those lights. Another thing to keep in mind is looking at a computer screen or a phone. If you can have that dimming option where it takes away that blue wavelength, that's going to help a lot. So dimming that light to help us fall asleep, and it's going to help the quality of our sleep. Evening routine tip number 2, supplements. No supplement is going to be the panacea, but there's a few things that I take maybe a few times a week, every other day, or once a week, and I can go into more detail on these on another video. But one thing to note, a lot of people take melatonin. Be careful of taking melatonin, because melatonin is actually a hormone and it can disrupt some things within our body. You have to be really careful. There are certain times that it can be beneficial, but just be careful with that, because when you take that, you disrupt how our body creates that, and your body can become dependent. So just make sure you know what you're doing with melatonin. I do not take melatonin, but some things that I do take. Glycine, that's something that helps lower body temperature, which we'll get to here in a little bit. I have inositol as part of my supplement repertoire, turn our brain off a little bit. The same thing can be true of theanine. I take that most nights. Magnesium, very common for people to take that. Magnesium threonate or magnesium glycinate are things that cross the blood-brain barrier the easiest, but magnesium is great for our body in general, but it also helps us to get to sleep and stay asleep. Another sleep supplement is tryptophan. That is an amino acid. We hear about that in chicken and other things, that it is in food, but that can help people to fall asleep if that's something that you have a hard time with. So check out some of these supplements, do your research, make sure you know what you're doing. I do not take most of these every night. Theanine and magnesium I take the most, but check those out. That can help you depending on your sleep needs in your evening routine. Evening tip number 3 to improve your sleep is cool temps. Your body temperature needs to decrease by 1 to 3 degrees to fall asleep and to stay asleep. We often associate, oh wow, when I'm really warm and cozy, I can fall asleep. That could be the case, but it probably isn't going to be the best, especially on a regular basis. You want your body temperature to come down. That's how you are actually going to fall asleep. It triggers that your body is ready to sleep. It's also going to make for the most restful sleep. So think about that as you are approaching the evening and you are coming towards sleep, and think about how you sleep, making sure that you are cooling down. Maybe that means you're getting rid of some layers. Maybe you cool the house with your thermostat. Maybe you have some kind of fan in your room to create some airflow. So you want to have the cool temp so your body temperature can come down. Glycine is something, as I mentioned in the supplement section, there's research showing that it can help lower our body temperature, which aids in those cool temps for our body specifically. Maybe you need to open a window. There's also mattresses that you can adjust the specific temperature to help that to feel colder or at least cool. Find what works for you. I know sometimes I'll use ice packs in the summer to lay on my chest or hold in my hands to help my body temperature to come down, and I can usually see that with my heart rate, because my heart rate tends to reflect my body temperature. When the heart rate's finally coming down, I can tell. So cooler temperatures in your ambient temperature as well as cooling your body temperature. Evening routine tip number 4 to increase sleep quality is making sure that you take time to calm your body and get into a parasympathetic state. So parasympathetic, often called the rest and digest state. As you approach late afternoon and evening, you want to make sure that you're turning off as much stimulation as you can. That might include not checking emails after work. That might include not watching a really intense movie right before bed, or even any time in the evening. You have to see what works for you, but just the stimulation of your brain can activate your sympathetic nervous system and turn you into a fight or flight mode. So be cognizant of what you're watching and what you're ingesting. The same is also true. Bright lights will trigger alertness. We want to decrease those lights. So you want to bring down your nervous system. You want to bring down stimulation, and you want to get into a calm state. Another thing that you can try, the foam roller. There's a lot of studies and papers talking about foam roller that can activate your parasympathetic nervous system. Just make sure that you're doing it in a way that is calming, but that pressure on our muscles actually does activate our parasympathetic nervous system. So that's something you can consider to bring down our body's alertness and to bring us into a calm state. Obviously, laying down and relaxing, that might include reading a book or listening to a podcast. Another thing is thinking about breathing, doing some kind of structured breathing. Maybe it's box breathing or the physiological sigh. I have another video on those that you can check out, but there is research showing that this brings our body's alertness down and helps us to get into a calm state. So these are a few things to think about when you're leading into that evening, putting these into your evening routine to aid in sleep. Evening tip number 5 to support sleep is a hot shower, hot bath, or a sauna. This might sound counterintuitive because I talked about decreasing your body temperature and cool temps leading up to sleep and help us to stay asleep, but a sauna. So there are studies showing that because of that rise in body temperature, our body then is able to release that heat and our core body temperature actually comes down. The thing you have to be careful is the timing. If I do a sauna or a hot shower or hot bath too close to bedtime, there is not enough buffer time that my body still feels hot and my body has not cooled down and I'm not able to fall asleep. And if I'm able to fall asleep, it's not the best quality sleep. So it's something you'll have to play with. For me, I know that I need to do this probably 4 hours before bed to be safe. So if I'm shooting for a 10 o'clock bedtime, I want to shoot for 6 o'clock. The other thing is, after the hot shower or the sauna, maybe you take a cool shower to help get rid of some of that heat and bring that body temperature down, but your core body temperature is actually going to decrease. That can aid many people in both falling asleep and the quality of sleep. These are 5 tips for evening routines that can aid in your sleep. Any single one of these is probably not going to be the panacea, magic bullet to help with your sleep if your sleep is challenged right now. But if you're having a hard time falling asleep, Try one of these on their own, see if that helps. And if you notice a slight improvement, stick with it. And then maybe add something else. You want to see what works and what doesn't work. So if you try 5 things at once, it's hard to tell what's going on, or you might say, I see none of these work. Try one of them, see what works, add something else, stick with it. Make sure to leave some comments or questions below. Happy to correspond with you. I have tried many things. I used to sleep really horribly. Partially, I just didn't give myself enough time to relax, but I also had poor sleep hygiene. Hopefully this helps you to fall asleep, stay asleep, and have great sleep quality for your health, longevity, and overall wellness. Make sure to like and subscribe to stay up to date with content. Here's to life and fitness. Peace out.
Walking miles in someone else's show.